Kimbal Musk, the lesser-known sibling of Elon Musk, has spent his life straddling two worlds: tech and food. He's often been a quiet but pivotal figure in his brother's meteoric rise. Yet, while Elon rewires industries, Kimbal's passion remains rooted in the kitchen, building a career as a chef, entrepreneur, food activist, and cowboy hat lover. Seriously, he wears a cowboy hat everywhere. He loves it. Kimbal's journey is marked by a mix of loyalty to his brother and a desire to forge his own path. His complex relationship with Elon, both a source of strength and occasional tension, raises a compelling question. Is Kimbal the grounding force behind his brother's relentless ambition, or is he simply trying to sauté vegetables in peace? This is the story of Kimbal Musk. Kimbal James Musk was born in 1972 in Pretoria, South Africa, to parents May and Errol Musk. He's the middle child between Elon and his younger sister, Tosca. Kimbal has been open about the violence he experienced during his childhood, describing it as akin to torture. His father, Errol Musk, a wealthy and controversial figure, has been accused of abuse by both his children and his former wife. I covered him in detail in a previous video, you can check it out here. He literally has kids with his own stepdaughter, so you know he's a freak. Anyway, the external environment wasn't much kinder than the internal environment. Kimbal often witnessed his older brother Elon being viciously beaten at school, saying he must have upset them somehow, but nothing that would justify trying to beat someone to death. I was just there. There was nothing I could do. Amidst this turbulent upbringing, Kimbal found solace and passion in cooking. At just 11 years old, he prepared his first meal, a roast chicken with French fries, marking the beginning of a lifelong love for food. After finishing high school, Kimbal followed his mother, sister, and brother to Toronto, Canada. He later joined Elon at Queen's University, earning a business degree in 1995. This period marked the start of a pattern where Kimbal often followed Elon's ambitious adventures. It's a real running theme here, basically. While still in school, he helped launch their first startup, Zip2, where the brothers lived, worked, and occasionally fought, literally, in a cramped Palo Alto office. Fights between the two brothers are kind of legendary. They're both admitted to brawls on the floor of offices, and at one point, Kimbal bit Elon's fist, raised to punch him, so hard that Elon needed stitches and a tetanus shot at the hospital. Although Kimbal admits the two still argue, apparently it doesn't come to blows anymore, saying, "We literally used to get into fistfights. He and I have very different ideas on how to build a business." Really Siblings vibe, for sure. Very Siblings energy there. Zip2's sale in 1999 for $307 million earned Kimbal around $15 million before taxes. At just 27 years old, he had achieved financial freedom. The success was real, but the happiness wasn't. "I realized I was actually quite unhappy," he said. "That's why I went to cooking school." While Elon moved on to launch X.com, which later became PayPal, which later made a lot of money, Kimbal decided to enroll in New York's French Culinary Institute. Of the 25 students who enrolled in that class, only 6 made it through, including Kimbal. Timing is everything, and shortly after finishing culinary school, the 9/11 attacks shook New York. Kimbal joined volunteer chefs to prepare meals for first responders, starting with peeling potatoes and eventually creating full meals. But he would soon be pulled back into his older brother's orbit. In 2004, Kimbal founded The Kitchen in Boulder, Colorado. Around the same time, he became involved in the early days of SpaceX, attending key meetings for the Mars Oasis project, an ambitious but ultimately unsuccessful plan to send a greenhouse to Mars to spark public interest in space colonization. Very Elon. A former employee says of Kimbal's role in the early days, "He would show up at a lot of the meetings. Elon had him as a sort of consigliere. That's kind of what it felt like. He didn't talk much. He was kind of quiet." Though his role at SpaceX was limited, he was listed as a corporate officer from 2009 to 2022, a move that has raised questions among legal experts. Harvard law professor Jesse Fried suggested it might have been a way for Elon to provide financial support to Kimbal, while others speculated it served as a control mechanism for Elon. I think two things can be true at once, and my take is that's the situation here. While juggling his restaurant dreams and moonlighting in Elon's orbit, Kimbal decided to try his hand at tech again, this time as CEO and investor of Medium, a startup that pitched itself as a social web browsing experience. Eventually rebranded as One Riot, the company flopped completely, in a way that only a startup can. And when Kimbal gapped it in 2011, Walmart acquired the company for an undisclosed amount. According to insiders, it was a shit show and everyone lost money. But Kimbal has acknowledged he tanked it, saying, "It was like chewing sawdust every day." In early 2008, Tesla was on the ropes, and Elon turned to Kimbal for help. As a loyal board member since 2004 and a brother, Kimbal stepped up, cashing out about $375,000 in Apple stock to keep the company alive. And this is according to Walter Isaacson's biography. Despite his forays into tech and space, Kimbal's true passion remained food. In 2010, he launched the non-profit arm of The Kitchen called The Kitchen Community, later rebranded as Big Green, which focuses on creating learning garden classrooms to connect children with real food. His restaurant empire expanded to cities like Denver, Chicago, and Austin. In 2016, Kimbal founded Square Roots, an urban farming startup that grows greens in shipping containers. It's a bit more complicated than that, but that's it. The company raised $90 million, largely from Elon-adjacent investors, before laying off most of its staff in 2023 and pivoting to a vague farming-as-a-service model. Translation: the lettuce ship has sailed. His latest venture, Nova Sky Stories, a drone light show company, has also leaned heavily on the Musk network, most specifically Qatar's sovereign wealth fund, which also happens to back Elon's X and XAI, and recently partnered with Starlink for in-flight Wi-Fi. They're also getting Kimbal to do drone shows. Kimbal was on the board of Chipotle Mexican Grill from 2013 to 2019, random and he's on the board for Burning Man. I did not know that Burning Man had a board, but slay Kimbal, that sounds fun, I guess, why not? These days, Kimbal's main focus is Big Green, the non-profit focused on connecting kids to real food by creating learning garden classrooms in schools across America. It's a far cry from whatever Elon's doing right now. The idea behind it originally came from his first wife, Jen Lewin. She's still involved in the non-profit today. Speaking of, when it comes to his personal relationships, there really isn't as much to read into as there is for his brother or his father. I mean, honestly, by Musk standards, Kimbal's family life is actually super normal. Kimbal first married Jen Lewin, his business partner for The Kitchen, in 2001. They went on to have 2 children together, but divorced in 2010. She's gone on to remarry and remains involved in The Kitchen and Big Green. It seems like they get on fine. Kimbal met his current wife, Christine Wiley, an environmental activist and daughter of ex-billionaire Sam Wiley, in 2011. Kimbal said, "Eventually it worked out though, even if it took a few years, and the pair went on to have 4 weddings in 2018. 4. Elon was the best man at 3 of them, and I assume Kimbal wore the hat to all of them. Honestly, me, 1 wedding is stressful enough. Anyway." Following Elon's lead has paid off for Kimbal and his cowboy hat. Thanks to small stakes in SpaceX and Tesla, Kimbal is worth an estimated $900 million. At Tesla's peak in December, that number hit $1.3 billion. But while Elon builds rocket ships and rewires transportation and runs around with a chainsaw, Kimbal mostly just wants to saute vegetables, I think. It paints a picture of a very unique relationship between Kimbal and Elon. Without Kimbal, it's possible Elon wouldn't have made his first big chunk of money. And in 2008, he essentially saved Tesla. But without Elon, Kimbal wouldn't have the extreme wealth he has today or the connections to strive towards his latest ventures. But my question is, did he want that? If he wasn't pulled into Elon world, wouldn't he just have been happily cooking somewhere this whole time? It's like they can't succeed without each other. Forbes magazine spoke to a bunch of people about Kimbal, and they all said pretty much the same thing. He's a really nice guy. According to a former One Riot employee, Kimbal never stands up to Elon, not even in private. But apparently Elon and Kimbal are incredibly close. So is Kimbal the real power behind the throne? Is he the person closest to Elon who can keep him tethered to the ground? When Elon bought Twitter, Kimbal said to him, "It's a pimple on the ass of what should be your impact on the world." And earlier this year, Kimbal came for Trump over tariffs, totally publicly. Part of me can't help but wonder, is Elon so unhinged these days because he doesn't have Kimbal by his side? His younger brother, who maybe cares a bit less for power and more for healthy food? They've been by each other's side through it all, from their challenging childhood to multi-billion-dollar success. But now, as their paths seem to deviate, Elon seems more dangerous and power-hungry than ever. Kimbal Musk's life is a study in contrasts. A billionaire chef, a quiet tech insider, and a man who is both shaped and been shaped by his brother's orbit. But as their paths diverge, big questions linger. Is Kimbal the grounding force that Elon needs? Or has he always been a bystander in his brother's high-stakes world? Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you check out the one on Elon Musk, their dad. He's crazy, and I think it provides more context on how Elon turned out the way he did. Make sure you like and subscribe. We do 5 videos a week on everything happening all around the world in the news and on the internet, as well as these little deep dives into people. I'm very nosy, so they are fun for me. See you tomorrow.